Visit PeerlessBoilers.com and get that beast out of your basement. And remember, folks, Peerless builds America's best boilers. 15 minutes to the top of the hour here on Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. Zach Gelb here for the main event, flying solo on this Wednesday. Temple gets ready to face Army for homecoming on Saturday. We just had head coach Rich Ellerson of the Black Knights come on and join us. So let's go out to Edberg Olson Hall right now and welcome in Sean Boyle. Sean, it's Zach Gelb here. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, and there was some news that came out on Twitter and Facebook from your own page about a week ago, and that was that you're no longer going to be on the football team as you do retire. And I know you're still involved with the football team. You still attend practices, but you suffered some injuries. So how tough was that decision to make?
It was definitely a tough thing to do, but through 6 years and 5 surgeries, it comes down to a point that whether or not the body can handle it or not. And I was at the point mentally that I don't know if I could come back again.
Well, first off, congratulations, because retirement is always tough, especially in the college years. And you had some shoulder problems last year. You started off the year starting at center for the Temple Owls, and you were struggling to get on the field because of your health. Same story this year. How frustrating is it when you have all those injuries? Because you have a lot of talent, and it was a shame that the injuries derailed your college football career.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to deal with, but I mean, it's part of the game. Injuries are definitely a huge part of the game. You got to cope with them somehow, and sometimes the cookie crumbles in a way that you don't want it to happen, and that's the way it happened to me. So.
Now, you had a plethora of success here at Temple University, minus the injuries. What was that best memory throughout your career here at Temple University when you look back at your years playing football?
I think being a part of the teams that made the bowl games. The first bowl game we went to was the first team in 30 years. And then 2 years later, we had the first bowl victory. So it was definitely a great experience to be a part of the growth of this program and be able to convey to some guys what it takes to build a program. And it's awesome to still be around. Not everybody gets the opportunity to have 6 years in college, and I'm fortunate enough to get a master's degree while I'm here. So it's definitely a great opportunity.
Now, after that first bowl game, it was a loss, and then the next year you come back at win. Taken back to the first one, though, how much fire did that light under your belt individually? Because that's a game that everyone wanted to win, and did that play a big role in getting back to the bowl game the second year in a row and finally winning it?
Well, I think it was 2009 we went to Eagle Bank, and then the next year we were bowl eligible again, but we didn't. We were left out. We were the only team with 8 wins that were left out. So it's definitely added a hunger to the belly, especially losing that bowl game. We had the taste of being in it. We just wanted to win it, especially because we had UCLA on the ropes. We just didn't finish out on that specific game. We didn't finish out. But, going through that experience, we definitely had the hunger in the belly, and then we got ousted the next year based on just the numbers. And then once we finally got that New Mexico game, it was I don't want to say it was destiny to win that game, but it was definitely time because the program put so much effort into coming from the bottom with all those losses, and now we finally made it to the bowl game, and we had a great opportunity to beat Wyoming, and it's definitely a phenomenal experience.
Sean Boyle joins us on the hotline, Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. And Sean, you're one of those unique players as a senior here that played under Al Golden, also played under Steve Adazio, and now got to play under Matt Rule this year. What did you learn from those 3 head coaches in your years here at Temple?
I learned a lot. I learned that every coach has their own philosophy. Football, X's and O's are all the same thing, but the way they operate a program, the way they talk to players, the way they interact with players, it was all different, and all of them had their positives and negatives, and it was just a phenomenal thing to be fortunate to learn from each one of those guys because I'll be able to take things that will affect my entire life from these guys.
And Matt Rule, I know the Owls, they don't have a win on the season, and a lot of fans could get frustrated, but everyone was high on him when he got hired here as the head football coach of Temple University. What's your relationship with Matt? Because if we see the end of the tunnel here, I really think a lot of people are going to be impressed with what Matt Rule does here at Temple University.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Coach Rule and I have a great relationship. He was part of my recruiting process in high school, so I've had a relationship with him for about 7 years now. And he's been close with me throughout the injury process. He's always been there for me. He's always been able to talk about it. But he's growing as a coach. This is his first time being a head coach. He has a great vision of where he wants his program to go, and at this point he's just building the program how he wants it to be done. So it's definitely bright spots in the future. It's just he's got to build it the way he wants to build it.
And we have a coaches show here on WHIP, so every Thursday we get to talk to one of the coordinators or the head coach and Matt Rule. And we had on Ed Foley the other day, and he was telling us how special of a player you were here to Temple University and how he would want his daughters to marry you and so on. So how much did Ed Foley mean to your career here at Temple?
I mean, all those guys, like Coach Rule, Coach Foreman, Coach Foley, they were all here when I was getting recruited the first year here. So, I have a special relationship with those guys. They stayed on throughout all three regimes, except for Coach Rule when he was gone for that year with the Giants. They've been here through everything that I've been here through, so they know exactly what happened, exactly everything. I've been around them every step of the way, so I think my relationship with them was special.
And now there's also a special relationship between a quarterback and a center. Connor Riley, he started the year under center for the Temple Owls in Notre Dame, and then late in that Louisville game, they went to P.J. Walker, and P.J. will get the start going up against Army on Saturday for homecoming. P.J.'s a quarterback who has a strong arm, and he can also extend the plays with his legs. His future looks bright here for Temple.
Yeah, definitely. P.J.'s a young guy. He's got a lot of athletic ability, and he's got a drive to be good. Connor's the same way. He has a different skill set, but both guys have a desire to win, desire to be great. And I think that's comes from how they were raised, how they come into a program. They want to be good, they want to be great. So they approach every day that they want to get better. And so it's a great opportunity for PJ to get the start this week. But I dropped the hat. Connor could get in.
And going back to last year, Chris Coyer was the quarterback for the Owls, and he moved to tight end this year. Juice Granger played some quarterback up in that Fordham game early, and then he moved to wide receiver. And both of those players really, they went out there, and they both had sensational seasons so far. You saw Juice Granger had the wide receiving caught touchdown up against Cincinnati last Friday. Has that been a little bit weird, though, for you to see Chris and Juice switch positions, knowing from what you knew in your early days here at Temple?
Yeah, it's definitely a different thing, but both guys are playmakers, so we had to find a way to get them on the field. And if that meant catch the ball a little bit, then that's what it meant. At the end of the day, they need to get on the field because they're playmakers.
We're talking to Sean Boyle. And, Sean, a few more questions right before we let you go. This offensive line these days, you saw a player like Dion Dawkins who has a very bright future here at Temple, and he actually broke his foot a few weeks ago. And you've been a player that struggled with injuries, as we talked about. What advice would you give to Dion Dawkins as he tries to rehab this foot injury that he suffered?
I mean, the biggest thing is concentrate on the mental aspect of the game, and the physical aspect isn't there. That's a huge part of my game. I treat the mental aspect almost more importantly than the physical, because at this level, everybody's got the physical talent if you get here. So, building that mental game is definitely an important part, especially when he's got so much downtime on crutches in the boot and stuff like that. So it's time to concentrate on the playbook and learning it as best as you can.
You were the definition of Temple tough. Two-part question here, and then we'll let you go. How do you want your football career here at Temple to be remembered, and what's your message to the future Owls that come here to Edberg Olson Hall on North Broad?
I just want to be remembered as a guy that kept fighting. I can't think of too many guys who come back from 5 surgeries and attempt to continue to play. It's a rough game, and when you're trying to battle with one arm per se, it makes it a little harder. But I think a message to the Owls in the future would be, whatever comes in your way, make the best thing that you can do. And every opportunity you get in college, especially being part of a college football team, is a blessing in disguise, whether it's positive or negative. Injuries, they're a blessing in disguise, and I was fortunate enough to pursue a master's degree. So these injuries have done definitely a positive thing in my future, so I'll have the master's degree when I leave.
Well, Sean, we really appreciate the time today. Congratulations. Get that master's degree as well, and we really do appreciate your career here at Temple University. So thanks for a few minutes today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Sean Boyle right there on the hotline, Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. Hey, he's the definition of Temple tough, and it's a shame that injuries got in the way, but that's the sport of football as we know it.